Hello, my name is Mary, and the purpose of this video is to make a second attempt at doing the Team Project Pan launched by Kat and Haley over in Australia. Now, last year I started it and I was a little conflicted because I was at the time doing a no-buy year, and it was just very difficult thinking about doing a Team Project Pan and accelerating that cycle of purchase, use, replace. It was not something that I was really into wholeheartedly. But this year, I'm on a low buy with a very clear budget that allows for replacement of product. I'm not looking to bloat my stash any further. I had an aha moment after watching a video that Sandra, and I will link her channel down below. She's a delightful presence on YouTube. But I believe it was in her year end, which she does with a friend of hers. They were talking about an app where you can track your stash in order to track expiration dates. I think it's really important to realize that cosmetics are consumables. They have expiration dates. With this app, you can essentially log your stash, and it will track your expiration dates based on the date that you have opened your product, and it will send you a little alert when something is expired and needs to be replaced. Because I was on a no-buy for half the year last year, this Laura Mercier foundation primer I purchased in 2018. Probably this is well beyond its expiration date. It does not make me break out. It does not have any off odors, so I feel that I could probably still use it, but I have a fairly extensive stash, which means that I have not just this primer that is already expired, but I have several others in my stash that also have a running clock that will also expire well before the point when I can use them all up. This year I really have refreshed goals for my Team Project Pan, and that is to just go through my stash and actually make sure I'm using things and enjoying them and not being stingy, because if you're stingy, you're just going to end up throwing things away. That said, I am wearing everything that will be in my Team Project Pan below. I did last year make some changes to the spreadsheet that Kat and Haley came up with, so I will put my adapted spreadsheet in the description box below. That spreadsheet will list everything that I go over today. Also been following the hashtag. If you type the hashtag up in the YouTube search box, you'll see everybody who's doing Team Project Pan 2020. But I love that sense of community. Kat and Haley are a remarkable YouTuber. If you are also doing a Team Project Pan in 2020, say hello in the comments below, and I'd love to pop over to your channel and see what you're doing as well. So I'm wearing everything that will be in my Team Project Pan. I'm sort of going through my little bin and emptying it out and replacing last year's products with this year's products. Okay, I have emptied my bin, and let's see what will go into my Team Project Pan by category. All right, so let's start with a little bit of skincare. We'll go in order of daytime application. Going to leave cleanser out because I just have a big pump bottle of the CeraVe moisturizing facial cleanser. Kind of inconsequential. It won't go bad before I use it up. But all of these other products that I'm going to talk about have that ticking clock that has already begun because they're all open. After I wash my face, I use an essence. This is the Essence by Time Revolution. And there's my mark for January. Then I go in with my Biologique Recherche Lotion P50 and the Formula V. Love this toner. Is that going to focus? Serums. I use the Mela Vitamin C Serum. There's my mark. This is absolutely a great example of the kind of thing that you want to use up before it oxidizes. Those bottles really have about a month and a half lifespan on them. It's already beginning to get cloudy. Follow that with my own kind of personal concoction. I buy, if you've watched any of my content, I purchase a variety of serums from Timeless and then sort of make my own cocktail blend in an empty bottle. And they all have a hyaluronic acid base. And this one is cloudy because of the coenzyme Q10 serum. But there is my mark for that. Again, I will put weights down in the spreadsheet so I can track all of these items by weight. In the daytime, the moisturizer I've been using is this Clé de Peau Protective Fortifying Emulsion Broad Spectrum SPF 22. It does have chemical sunscreen in it. So because of those chemical sunscreens, I will not be repurchasing this, but I do actually tolerate it quite well. I just don't like what I read in the research as far as what it does to your hormones. And I'm roughly here with that moisturizer. I do like it though, it's quite effective. And then I top that, of course, with my Australian Gold. This one is a physical sunscreen, and I love it. It sits quite well under makeup, and I am just at the end of this tube, so the weight will be near empty on this, but I do have a backup. I will talk about, while we're here, 3 additions for my evening skincare routine. This is the Lancer face oil. I alternate generally between 2 night creams that I was experimenting with. So the May Love 1 cream, the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream, which is the one I prefer. I'll talk about these both and do an ingredient comparison in a different video. The other active in my skincare routine is my Curology Tretinoin. My blend is Niacinamide 4%, Azelaic acid 5%, Tretinoin 0.035%. It's doing its job, but I could do without the peeling sometimes. This is just about empty. These are kind of set up as airless pumps, which means it's very difficult to tell when you are how much you have left or when you are hitting bottom. This size is the size that they intend you to use up in 2 months, but honestly, I get much closer to 3.5 months out of each tube, even though I apply it to the backs of my hands and my décolleté. Facial sprays, this was in my project pan last year. This is just about empty. It's the Tatcha facial spray. Why don't I put some on now? It is, I really enjoy it. It has a rather resiny, rosemary-ish aroma. I will not be repurchasing it. But this just seems, can I say frivolous? For me, it's a little frivolous. The last skincare really is my 7E Wellness Restore gel, conductivity gel for my myolith. Ready to shift gears to cosmetics, which is why many of you are probably here. Primer. I'm going to put my Bobbi Brown Vitamin E Face Base in my primer slot, and I adore this product. It smells like rose scented geranium. It has very moisturizing properties, and it actually pairs quite well with the foundation in my Team Project pan. For foundation, I'm going to use up this is my original formula of the Chanel Vitalumiere Velvet. Subsequently, they have replaced the formula, and again, this is well over a year old, so while it has not expired, putting this one in my Team Project pan because I'm just looking to reduce the overall number of foundations in my stash. It's ridiculous to have as many as I have. Okay, after foundation, the powder that was in my Team Project pan last year that I adore, that I will continue to pan, although honestly I probably have another 1.5 years left of powder. This is my Clé de Peau powder. I love how finely milled this is. It is a loose powder. I generally don't use the puff. With this foundation, I do not need to use a setting powder, but I do set my concealer with a little eye makeup brush. That's a good way to go through powder really slowly. Speaking of concealers, the concealer in my Team Project, my Giorgio Armani, I love it. It's a really good match for under my eyes. Feel it does a good job no matter what foundation I'm using. I actually have a second foundation for my Team Project pan, inspired by the fact that stick foundations generally have a shorter lifespan than fluid foundations, which I discovered with that app. That means I really need to put a dent in my Tom Ford Traceless Stick Foundation. I love it. It won't be hard to do. It's a wonderful winter foundation. That's how much I have. And the only way to track this one will be by weight. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. It is sort of a highlight. I sometimes use it as a highlight. Today I have it on as a primer on the high points of my cheek. Honestly, this could fit in either of those two categories, highlight or foundation primer. Again, because this is a stick and I adore it, the second highlighter in my project pan will be my Chanel, the Chanel highlighter in Sculpting. And I will just swatch that for you right here. It's a little balmy. Not super flashy wet look, but it's certainly there. For my cheeks, I'll say, again, because I have two different colors of the Chantecaille Cheek Gelée, and I adore them both. Really what I put on my cheeks kind of depends on the overall look. Very pinky. The other cheek product is my bronzer, and I hit pan on this last year. This is my Bobbi Brown Illuminating Bronzer in the shade Aruba number 4. I love it. It does tend to develop hard pan. So just yesterday I took some tape to get rid of that hard pan. Consequently, when I went in today, it really was so much more pigmented than what I've been dealing with the hard pan. So I kind of overdid things today. Anyway, this I believe I can use up this year. Eyelid primer, I just never remembered to use it. I've got this Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I will put it in here in the attempt to remember to use it. But generally, my go-to method is to put my 3 dots of concealer here in the trowel of my tear duct, and then 1 dot on the top of my lid, and I pat that out to serve as my eyelid primer, and I feel it does a good job. My shadows last all day and they do not crease, so I just typically, too many products. I'm looking to simplify. This is something that I will probably declutter. Knock out brows because I'm so proud of myself. This is my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pomade in the shade Blonde, and I have already hit pan, and I should be able to use this up this year. I'm really thrilled with the product. I sort of do soap brows and brush this through, and I'm good to go. I don't feel it's any slower than using a brow pencil, quite frankly. I considered not putting a mascara in Team Project Pan because I use them for 3 months and then get rid of them. So I've got my Chanel Le Volume, and I found that pairing that with the Lancome eyelash base completely mitigates that problem that I was having last year with transfer and with flaking with this mascara. Because I kind of have oily eyelids, I feel that most of the color transfer I get below is actually from tight lining my eyes with eyeliner, and I feel that essentially that is what is dropping onto my lower lid. But if you know any tricks for that, please let me know in the comments below. It's a lifetime struggle. Tight lining. I have so many eyeliners that I absolutely adore. This is my Charlotte Tilbury, the classic eye powder pencil in the shade Audrey, which is a brown, and I love it. I do love it. I'm wearing it today. Once it sits down, it's transfer proof. Let's see if I can go through my first eyeliner pencil. Lip pencil. This is my Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Lip Cheat. I'm wearing that today. Probably 1/3 gone, so I look forward to getting some use out of that. Again, I have plenty of lip pencils, and I just would like to thin my stash a little bit in that category. In order to actually finish this bullet, I'm going to attempt to use just 2 lip products until this one is gone. This is my Charlotte Tilbury Kissing Formula in the shade Bitch Perfect. It is a neutral, peachy neutral, very comfortable to wear. I enjoy it. I enjoy the name. I feel that I can do it. I can actually use that up. I would also like to make some progress on some of my lip glosses. This is the Clé de Peau lip gloss. I'm wearing this today in the shade Charm. Very easy to throw in a bag. This is the kind of combination that I'm more likely to reapply during the day. So fragrances, I have two. This is kind of my gym bag scent. Happy by Clinique. Smells very soapy, very fresh. I don't know why I didn't finish this last year. It's just such a small sample size that it usually drops to the bottom of my bin and I never go back into it. And my beloved Jo Malone Wood Sage and Sea Salt. I'm so smitten by this. My favorite blend of fragrances is a squirt or two of the Jo Malone Wood Sage and Sea Salt and a squirt or two of the Jo Malone Bluebell. All right, sadly, I will finish this up. That leaves us just one thing. The eyeshadow palette that I will attempt to put a serious dent in. Natasha Denona Biba palette. Very neutral, but what I really like to do is jump around the palette and look at these as either individual quads, each one will give you a unique look, or just jump around the palette completely. I have 3 shades on today: Buff all over my lid, this mustardy color Prairie on my inner corner, and Rustic, this shimmery bronze on deepening my outer corner. Rustic, Prairie, and Buff. That concludes my team project pan. Everything fits really nicely in that bin. Again, they'll stay out on my counter. I will be doing monthly check-ins, and I really look forward to looking at your videos to see what you're doing in your team project pans. Thanks again for spending some time with me. Ciao.